Hi, guys. Welcome back to another fabulous episode of the Balanced Boss Mom podcast. I'm your host, Erika. And today's episode is such a special one because we're going to be talking about parenting, partnership, and purpose. If you are a parent who often thinks, like, what is it like to be a parent? Sometimes, let me tell you, I am telling you, it's kind of like a full-time job. In my opinion, it's kind of like having a 9 to 5, but not necessarily, but it's a fulfilled life. If you are dreaming of building something meaningful while raising your family, this episode is perfect for you. Today, I'm joined by Alex and Lauren, proud parents and co-founders of Piggy's, Baby's Essential Broad created to bring cleaner, better made baby socks to little feet, which I absolutely adore because I have a niece and she has little feet. And this is just going to be perfect for today's episode. So their story is rooted with real life experiences, of course, parent struggles. So that's something that we really correlate. And their story is really meaningful to me. I'm so excited to have you guys. You guys are my first couple on my podcast. I'm so
Robert.
excited. They have this, when I say it's a thoughtful dream, thoughtful imagination, and deeply committed by family, and just it's a dream. I really, really am excited for you to be on here. Now, Lauren and Alex, I want to thank you both for being here, and I'm genuinely excited for this conversation. So I am going to introduce you guys and say welcome to the Balanced Boss Mom podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're excited to be here. I know we talked about sort of the lead up and everything that we want to get into about piggies, about our parenthood, about raising a child as well. So excited to have this discussion.
I am excited for this discussion to start. So before we even begin here, I have started every conversation this year with the word of the year for 2026. Now, I know this might throw you off a little bit, but I want to know a little bit about what is the word of your year.
Well, for me personally, and I guess it also goes with the brand, is just growth. Kind of like, we're still growing into our lives as parents, but we also to our roles in the business and growing the business and just becoming the people that we know we want to be and making this grow into something that is big and known by everybody in the world.
I'm glad you went first. I have another G word that I thought of when you were talking. Mine's going to be go. And that is sort of inspirational, right? And it's motivational in terms of just putting your head down and taking action. Our daughter, and we'll get into our daughter and sort of our family and everything, but she also oftentimes just tells me go when I'm holding her because she, wants the speed, the action. She wants me to spin her around or throw her in the air or whatever, picking up on new words all the time. But go has been a big one for her lately. So I'm going to take that as my own as well. Go.
I like those two words. So growth and go. I think in 2026, everybody should have some sort of growth and should just pick up a hobby, pick up something that they are really interested in doing and something that they love to do. So I like the word go as well. So that way you guys can just get up and go, like just have fun in life. 2026, I feel like is reverting back to 2016 in my opinion, but it's weird. I feel like we're going through like a whole time port. So before we jump into Piggies, I love for you both to briefly introduce yourself in your own words, who you are, where you're from, and what kind of season you are in your life.
Yeah, well, I'm Lauren. I am 28 years old. We live in the suburbs of Chicago, but we were also originally from the suburbs of Chicago. So we never went very far. And in this season of life, kind of wearing a handful of different hats, but we're first time parents. So I'm a first time mom to a 1.5-year-old. I still have a full time job during the day and then co-founder of Piggies. And I'm mostly in charge of a lot of the creative stuff. So I do a lot of the social media, the emails, the product design, the website. So anything creative and visual that we see is usually on my plate.
And I'm Alex. Also have always been born and raised out in the suburbs of Chicago. We are, like you, Erika, very proud Bears fans this time of year, and I hope we in their playoff aspirations. But I also have a day job as well, like Lauren, and we always wanted to start a family ever since we met in high school. We've been together for over a decade, and family was always front of mind. So, in addition to that, I would say entrepreneurship was kind of like the future child we wanted to have at some point in time, a venture of our own to like build and grow and kind of take ownership of.
Mhm.
And so it's kind of funny that we're here having this conversation, bringing all of those pieces together. I think it's pretty natural coming together. So yeah, I'd say Piggies is our latest and best venture yet that we've
Yeah, well, I mean, we've tried to start a whole bunch of different things in the past over the
Hmm.
last 5 years individually, and it never
right.
really truly worked out, and this is the first one that we've done together, and it just feels different this time. I don't know if it's because we're doing everything together now, we're taking on the stuff that we like to do, and the other person does the stuff that we don't like to do, but it just feels there's a different energy to this one.
Definitely. And in terms of our roles of the business, Lauren touched on hers from definitely a design, a creative, and really an inspiration of the entire brand and the product design.
Hmm.
My focus and my skill set is more on the process side of things. So that includes, supply chain and sourcing the actual product itself. It's also the kind of logistics and planning for an inventory. It's also the management of like the finances of the business. And then it's also some of like the sales and commercialization outreach efforts that we've been doing as well. So it's kind of a multifaceted. You have to wear a lot of hats when you start something new. Unfortunately, we can split some of those hats between two of us. I don't have much of a creative hat, anyways, in my bag. So I'm glad that Lauren does.
Well, and I like how you guys, like you said, when one person doesn't like to do one thing, the other person kind of picks it up and do the secondary thing of what made the other person don't like. And I
Yep.
like how, of course, you guys are from Chicago. I mean, come on. And it's the playoffs, and today is the game. So I'm really excited about the Bears. You know me. Y'all gonna be like, Erica, are you watching the game? I'm like, yeah, I am. I'm rooting for them. So Chicago Bears, if you hear this, we're rooting for you. We want you to win today. So we're really excited. So I know Piggies was born directly out of your early parenting experience, which I love. When I first read your story, I was like, they have to come onto the podcast. This is absolutely amazing. And you guys had, like you said, you came up with great ideas beforehand, but it just didn't land, exactly. So could you take us back to a moment when you first started thinking about creating a business or creating business?
Yeah, well, I mean, it wasn't even really we were thinking about what kind of business can we make. We always just kind of had it in the back of our mind of we want to start something, but we didn't know what. And our daughter was about, I'd say 2 months at the time.
Hmm.
And she had gotten socks gifted to her from friends and family that are supposed to be, better socks, some of the best ones
Hmm.
out there. And she was very active, even as a little newborn. She would kick her feet
She was
constantly.
she was a spaz. I'll say that. She got it from me.
And they would still just like slip off after like a couple minutes, not even. And it just got to the point where we decided maybe she just shouldn't wear socks at this point. And so we didn't, even at that point, we didn't think like, oh, we should start a business. And it
Hmm.
was when we were watching Shark Tank one night and there were other sock businesses on Shark Tank. And one of us, I don't even remember who, just kind of jokingly said we should make baby socks and call it piggies. And then after like a couple of minutes, we kind of looked at each other and we were like, we should start a sock brand and call it Piggies.
It was almost like we struck gold because the origin of the name Piggies is actually our daughter's nickname. And at that
Hmm.
time, she was 2 or 3 months old. She would snort through her nose all the time. So she earned the nickname Piggy. But because of that, we were sort of quick to come to a name. And one of the branding kind of elements and decisions that typically I think has been difficult, some of our other ventures, our solo ventures that we've tried in the past, this
Hmm.
one just felt like we struck gold. So we were like, we have to really dive into this. I think the niche focus of a product like socks is just the tip of the iceberg, and you can do so much more beyond that. And so I think we've learned that definitely over the past, call it, year and a half of building this business. It's shown us that there's so much more beneath that surface.
Yeah, but it kind of just started with trying to make socks that actually stayed on and fit
Hmm.
them better. Quickly moved into trying to find better materials that we could make it out of as well, because a lot of the things that you can find out there aren't made with the best materials. It's mostly polyester or like 100% other plastic materials. That's not necessarily good for anyone's skin, especially a baby who's more sensitive. So we
Right.
really honed in on trying to find cleaner materials so that it not only just lasted longer, but made them feel better.
And I like that. I like that for you don't see a lot of baby socks where they have the kind of material that you guys have. Some of the baby socks, like for instance, can be like very itchy around the round part of the ankle, for example. And some, the babies may not like that. Some babies do. Everyone's different in
Yep.
reference to the product. And I'm really excited to see the product grow. Honestly, I'm wishing you guys so much luck on this and so much feedback on your business. And I hope anyone that sees this episode really can relate about the baby essentials and baby socks with your brand. Now, I know so many parents can relate to the moment of why like making a business is so much harder than what it needs to be, or what made you decide not to complain about a problem, but actually create the solution to the socks.
Yeah, I'd say, again, it kind of goes back to our entrepreneurial spirits. I think we were always trying to look for how we can build something from
Mhm.
nothing, essentially. It came at the perfect moment in time. I think that we were also spurred by having a child, and we're also looking around thinking about futures and everything else like that. It- Nothing ever happens when you want it to happen. And so, of
No.
course, it was the point in time in our lives where we had very little extra time now,
Mhm.
whatever we had to do to make sure we made the most of that kind of spare time, and we're still doing that today. That became so clear. Like this is how we need to stay focused, and this is how we need to manage our time going forward.
Mhm.
Things have now changed, and things have spurred more action, more drive out of us. So let's take advantage of that too. I think in terms of, you mentioned like people complain about the problem versus solving the problem. I think we
Mhm.
started just one problem, and that was, how do we get socks to stay on better? Okay, check. That was generally a quicker solution, quicker thing to solve, I'd say. We looked around the market, we saw what other brands were doing, actually called a patent attorney for a brand that had a solution to this problem,
Mhm.
and tried to figure out which ways it was proprietary, which ways it was not, and learn more about how that business tackled this problem and tried to tackle the problem. I'll say we thought we could make it better. So first of all, that was an easy one to check off the list, but then we quickly pulled that back, that the layers of that onion just kept peeling and peeling and peeling. And there were so many other things, so many other features, right? It's the fabric content. You already talked about it, right? We have
Mhm.
Supima. There are other socks that use Supima cotton. I think we have not seen one with a higher ratio of Supima cotton to other materials included in that sock than you'll find in ours, which is another reason why we think it makes it the best. We're searching for other ones that make it use more natural materials, more Supima cotton than us, by the way. So if you find one, please let us know. Um,
Yeah, we're always looking. We're always
Sure. If I find anything, I am sending your way. You know what? I think you know who could be a brand ambassador? You should have a brand ambassador. You should have
we should
me
have.
as the brand ambassador, okay?
Yes,
And then my niece be the little ambassador to Pixie. I'm coming up
I like that.
I'm coming up with ideas, y'all. I'm coming up with ideas.
Junior brand ambassador program, I think, is a great idea for your niece. We are just going to say we already have our model and our daughter, who's been an incredible model for us.
See, that would be so much fun. So I know, like I stated, Piggies isn't just a cute branding. It's rooted in intention, which I love the word intention behind Piggies. You use a premium, you said a premium supreme cotton, is that correct?
Yes, Supima. So Supima
Mhm.
is an American grown, it's actually a brand and standard of cotton.
Mhm.
And so it has to do with how the cotton is harvested, how it's treated. It's longer threads of cotton. It's more durable. It holds colors better. It holds up, more resistant to shrinkage. It has so many better qualities and features than traditional cotton, and even
Mhm.
better than organic cotton, quite frankly.
Okay.
It's held to the highest standard of any type of cotton you can find.
Yeah, even just regular cotton and sometimes organic cotton can still be treated with a lot of pesticides. Organic cotton treated a little less than just general cotton,
Mhm.
but Supima is held to a higher standard, so they use less pesticides,
Okay.
usually none at all. And they also have better farming practices, which is better for the environment.
Right.
So they use less water in all of that.
Wow, I never knew anything about that, the difference between the organic cotton and the premium Suprema cotton. I never heard of Suprema cotton before. So that is very interesting to learn about today. And so I wonder what made it become like a non-negotiable, oh God, for you guys
Yeah.
regarding the cotton.
I mean, I think it just goes back to you just always want the best for your children. And
Mhm.
so we always want to just find the best thing for her.
Mhm.
And why not make the best thing for her and then also give that option to everybody else?
I think from a lifestyle standpoint too, we generally are active, and we try to eat healthy, and we try to manage what is in the products that we're using,
Mhm.
whether that's our laundry detergent, to the food that we eat, to the materials on our skin. I think this was a natural fit for us, no pun intended, natural. but
Mhm.
it was a really good fit for us in terms of making it a priority for the business.
Yeah,
'Cause-
well, there's also a very big shift in the world going on where people are looking towards lower toxic or non-toxic things, including their clothes, because we're realizing that a lot of the stuff that we've been wearing actually disrupts all of your hormones and your body and can irritate your skin. And it's not something we all thought of even just a couple years ago.
yeah,
Mhm.
So all that stuff for ourselves, why not do that for our
that's right.
children as well?
I mean, the and people are much better researched in it and have actually conducted the studies more than we have. But in
Mhm.
terms of bringing some of that data, right, what microplastics and the effects that they can have on the endocrine system is, you know, potentially very significant.
Mhm.
Now, multiply that when you're talking about a baby and the sensitivity and actually the thinness of the skin and kind of what it can tolerate and what it
Mhm.
cannot. Again, another reason why we thought that it was pretty much table stakes to focus on quality of materials versus something that's fast fashion and could just be bought off the shelf in another random store where you tend to see so many plastic riddle.
And I like how you both are talking about in reference to toxic products versus non-toxic products, because we are now talking about in 2026 about what we're eating into our bodies and why it's reacting to our bodies and how artificial products is they're doing more research on that, and I like
Yeah.
how this was a non-negotiable for you guys, where you're saying, "Hey, I'm trying to find a sock that prepares for my daughter," and what's I don't wanna say benefit, but what would help my daughter feel more comfortable in what she's wearing, and if it's making her feel comfortable, how about other children feel comfortable too? So I do like that as a non-negotiable for you guys, and that's really important for products to become more aware of, like you said, the cotton versus, organic cotton. I never knew that. So that's something that now today a lot of people can do more research on in reference to what their non-negotiables would be. Now I did learn where my daughter, when she was first born in 2018, there's no book in being a parent. And so I was learning about, I was like, well, what laundry detergent do I use? And I had to go to my friends on Facebook and say, hey, what laundry detergent do I use for a baby? Because I don't know. I just use Tide. And I was like, can you wash all the baby clothes in Tide? And then everybody looking at me like, Erica, no, you can't wash separate the baby clothes from your clothes. You can make her allergic. So I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And so now with my sister having two kids, I'm like, she's already known with my nephew about all the things. He's now in double digits. I'm like, I can't believe you're in double digits now. But you learn as you grow. Like I stated, there's no book to being a parent. And so something powerful about creating products like you did so confidently, used for your own daughter. And like I stated, I use different products for my daughter as well. How has being parent shaped the way you made like the business decisions behind this?
Yeah, I definitely think that we wouldn't have had the deep dive or building of this skill set without being parents. I
Hmm.
think that class of product is something that we would have otherwise probably ignored. So it's also funny, as much as we wanted something that was really a strong fit from a business standpoint that we could grow, cultivate, and again achieve some of our entrepreneurial ambitions. I
Hmm.
don't know that it would have happened without being parents at the same time, because that's what really opened us up to this other world. And it also showed us how much people care. Back to our last topic of discussion, right? The awareness for these types of issues to be solved in terms of better products and heightened alertness that there is around children's products in particular, I think was all of the information that we needed to go off of and learn more about the space and build a business around that.
Right. I mean, you talked about how people look into the detergent that they use to wash their
Hmm.
baby clothes because the stuff that goes onto that could irritate their skin or, give them an allergic reaction. But you don't actually think about then, well, what are the clothes actually made of? And what's in the clothes already could also be irritating their skin. So it's just taking that one step further of there's something that you can't see that might be irritating them, but they're a baby,
Mhm.
so they can't really tell you what it is.
Also, being parents and being in environments now around other parents has reinforced all of that thinking. And we've been able to actually do a lot of real life product testing or giving products to new parents that we meet at a coffee shop, for example. That's one of the ways where we try and just build that connection with our brand and with them and their child, is saying, hey, here's a no obligation best product we think that you're going to find. If you need socks in the future, maybe you'll think of Piggies. But in the meantime, put the best on your child's feet. So I think that we're able to also see that side of that community that otherwise we wouldn't have been a part of before without having our daughter. And so again, it all helps support that mission, helps cultivate a lot of the things that we need to focus on as a business.
And I like that because, like, some of the things people won't know what a good product is unless you go out there and you try it. Try it for yourself and see what the material feels like. I'm excited. Like I said, I'm really excited for you guys with this business, especially to see where it grows and where it goes towards, because you guys are in my opinion, I would say such a strong couple outside of being co-founders of a business. And that's a beautiful thing about, you have a relationship, you have that foundation that you have to start off with to grow and make a business. So what has it been like navigating all three roles? The roles of being parents, the roles of being co-founders, and I may want to struck you with this question, the roles of being individual within yourselves.
Yeah.
It's been difficult and frustrating, but also fun. At times, it kind of depends on how much is going on and what kind of moods we're in. We have a full-time job. We don't have any daycare or like nanny that helps out and trying to run the business. So it's just trying to make sure that we get everything done, but also give attention to our child and be able to spend time with her. So it can get frustrating when, she is a little bit more needy one day and she needs one. We also still have to work, but then we also have 1,000 things to do for the business and you just get a little bit overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
But slowly you kind of learn how to just fit things in where you can. We do have our parents that help out, which is great. So we're able to get our work done and then usually work on the business just when she's sleeping. But trying to get into that routine
Mm-hmm.
time, it was very difficult for, I'd say, the first year.
Time management is not a skill that we needed to really hone before we had children.
Mm-hmm.
And so making the most of every second and every spare second that we have is incredibly important, but also making, I think, pockets of time for one another to get things done and actually, I'll let me take care of the childcare for the next 2 hours while you go work on whatever needs to be done either for the business or for your day job.
Mm-hmm.
And sort of trade and share in that responsibility together. And so we've learned a lot about each other, I think, in terms of there is a communication aspect of it that's gotten so much better from here's what I need to do, here's what my focus and priorities for the day are, here's how much time I think that that's going to require. Can we work out something that we have schedules that are complementary to one another? And if we do need help from one of our parents or somebody else, right? Let's go
Mm-hmm.
find that help. But we can at least plan for that a little bit better. So logistically, again, I told you at the start of this conversation that that's my brain and that's how I'm wired is terms of process and logistics. I think putting that puzzle together has been a challenge that I think we've handled fairly well. It's been definitely without its stressful moments, but all in all, I'd say that that's one that we've achieved pretty well and we've gotten.
Yeah, I think the communication is definitely the hardest thing to overcome because you know yourself everything that you need to get done and how important everything is. But if you don't tell that to the other person, they're not going to
Mm-hmm.
understand you're stressed. So
That is
trying to
true.
get to the point where we just wake up and we say, okay, well, like, what do you have to do today? What do I have to do today? And when can we get it done? Because we can't work at the same time unless it's like, PM.
Or nap times, which we've realized how much you can really get done in a 2 hour window.
Nap times are very important. I remember one of the things when my daughter was little, they were like, girl, take the naps. Take the naps. When your daughter sleeps, you sleep. When your daughter eats, you eat. When the daughter's ready to go play, you play. And I'm like, but I don't wanna. And then I'm like, but I understand that not an essential, but it's a necessity in reference to make sure that you're recharged yourself. Because like I said, if your cup isn't full, then you're not able to serve all the different roles that are taking place that needs to happen. So I commend you guys for making this beautiful business and a great partnership because a lot of people would probably be like, Lauren and Alex, I hear you. I hear you with the business. I hear you. And so on those hard days, I know your daughter is your why behind on those hard days, but what other things could be your why behind those hard days?
I mean, I think a big one is that we just have always had this dream to work for ourselves and build something for us and not have to be stuck in a 9 to 5. Not that a 9 to 5 is bad. I mean, we both jobs and we could stay in them forever if we really wanted to. But we've just always, even before we started working, had this dream of building something and not even building something massive like all the huge companies out there, but something that can sustain the lifestyle that we want, but be able to go to work every day in a
Mhm.
good mood, excited, and to build something new.
There's definitely sort of a heightened sense of freedom that comes with starting something that's your own,
Mhm.
but that there's also a heightened sense of responsibility that you have to take on when it is your own
Mhm.
and you're putting your name behind it. And you're also saying to yourself, I'm not reliant on other people now. Like, if I'm truly going to make this work, I have to be my own engine here. And so, kind of keeping that motivation in the back of your mind that if that's the outcome that you want to get to at the end of the day, then you have to push through the difficulty along the way.
Mhm.
I think that we're early enough in the process and naive enough that we can see what we feel is success eventually down the line, but that sort of allows us to push through the difficulty right now as well, which is a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, I mean, there's still days where we wake up and we're like, I don't feel like working on anything today. Just
Mhm.
want a day off. But then you also think about if we don't do this, like if we don't post on social media and we don't send out an email, no one's going to see us. No one's going to notice that we're there. So
Like
you kind of just have to keep going, even if it's something small that day, like posting
Mhm.
something that's 10 minutes. But you just have to really remind yourself that it's just us. If we
Mhm.
don't do what we need to do, we're not going to grow this to what we want it to be.
That's right. If it's successful and it grows into what we want it to be, then we have ourselves and other people around us to thank. But also, if it doesn't work out, we have ourselves to blame. So both of those, I think, pull and weigh on you, and again, are driving forces behind what motivates us.
And I like that. I like that this is another layer that people can see behind not only the why for your daughter, but the why for yourselves, you know? And I like you said, I have a 9 to 5 myself. And one of the goals for myself as well is to be my own entrepreneur. I think that's everyone right now in 2026 want to be that content creator or that entrepreneur have some sort of business that inspires them, such as like Piggies or such as the podcast, inspire them to go out and do it. Like you said, the words growth and grow go hand in hand with the why as well. So I like that. And I appreciate you guys being on here today. A lot of people see the highlight reels of entrepreneurship, but not the behind the scenes. I know we talked about a little bit about the challenges, but what is your favorite thing about the business that you love doing?
Every Sunday or a day on the weekend, we go and get coffee at a coffee shop by our house,
Mhm,
and we always bring some socks to hand out to people if we find babies there that are in the age range that we have. And it's just so much fun talking to them and giving them the product and kind of seeing their like initial reaction of even just touching the product
mhm,
and hearing about what it is and why we made it and why it's better. It's really good to hear that feedback initially because even the people who buy it online, you don't necessarily get to hear what they think about it. Not everybody leaves a review. Even if you ask them 10 times, they might not leave a review. So you just don't know. And just being able to give these products to people in person
mhm,
feels really good and kind of helps us keep going.
Also, to the point of feedback, I think what's been rewarding too is the lack of negative feedback that we've had. And it is really rewarding because one of the ways that we built the business and figured out what features we wanted to make sure we included in the sock, we
mhm,
spent a year with like a Frankenstein sock model, iterating and working with, I don't know, 15 different suppliers in terms of trying to get it tailored to exactly the product that we wanted.
mhm,
And we looked at, and you looked at, spend a lot of time looking at other websites and other socks in the market and seeing the actual reviews from actual people. And you sort of in a lean or startup sense, right? You don't always have the resources to go run around and do a bunch of interviews and get the amount of feedback and good feedback that you want from people to
Mhm.
know how to tailor your product. It was out there for the taking. People literally read or leave word for word reviews, and you can use that and say, here's what they loved about this product, but clearly it fell short in this category. How do we address that? Well, everything that it fell short in, and looking around at all these other socks, seeing all the things that other socks fell short in, how do we make sure that that doesn't happen for us? So far, knock on wood, it hasn't, right? But like, um, that's been really fulfilling, I think, to say, we set out to achieve all of these things, and we wanted to make sure that it truly had the best of the best features of this sock. It so far has.
And I think, with some of the behind the scenes stuff that people don't see, like we spent over a year trying to get this product to be what it is now.
Mhm.
And we would have to wait months at a time for something to come in. And so we would send them what we wanted them to make. We'd have to wait weeks, get it back, send it back to them, say, fix this, wait another few weeks, get it, just kind of keep going. So it takes a long time to get something to where you actually want it to be. You can't just get it right the first time. So a lot of stuff that people don't realize is you can't just start a business. If it's a product that you're making, you can't
Mhm.
really just think of it and then start selling it in the same
Yeah,
week.
it takes a process to go through this. It's kind of like going through A to Z on the alphabet, so to
Yep.
speak.
Yeah, so you have to have a lot of patience, and it would get frustrating at times, and we
Mhm.
just knew we need to make sure that it's the way that we would want it before we sell it. It's
Yeah.
never going to be perfect. There's still things that we're changing and things that we be better, but we at least got it to a place where we would be happy with it, and that's what
Mhm.
matters.
And patience isn't my strong suit. She was very, very supportive of me trying to be more and more patient.
Yeah, there'd be times where we were like, okay, it's good enough now, and I said, no, we have to
Yeah.
change this
Yeah.
first, this little
See,
thing. But that's the
we
important
got
part. Like a
we
good
did.
product is always when you look at every little detail that people don't even think about.
And I like that. I like how you guys like bounce back and forth with like, hey, this is not my strong suit, but maybe you can fix it. And this is not my strong suit. And maybe you can, like for me, money and math ain't my thing. Okay. Math is just something I'm just horrible with. And my daughter right now, second grade, wants to come up to me with algebra. Do you not know how long I have not been in school to do algebra? Can't do it. So in second grade, I'm like, "What is this? Why is this?" I said, "You know what? Go to your dad. Your dad can handle the math. I handle the reading, the social studies, the science, the music. We can do all that together. I'm musically inclined. Gotcha. Math is not my strong. You got to go to your dad." So I see the yin with the yang. You have to have a lot of patience, especially with product making, because you want the best version of that product to come out, not something to where it's not fulfilling or not to your satisfactory is the word that I'm looking for. And I
Right.
like how you stated, Alex, in reference to the feedback. When you got the negative feedback, it's still fed that driven and that fire to say, hey, we're going to go ahead and listen to this feedback and come back and make a better solution out of this. So you guys are a powerful team and I love it. So before we wrap up, I just have a couple more questions and I'm going to get out your hair. Okay. I promise. I'm going to get out your hair so you can see the bear skin. So many parents listening right now may have ideas, may have dreams or passions that may feel like overwhelming or possibly unsure to start. So, is there any encouragement that you would like to offer to a first time parent that maybe want to build on that dream or build on that business that's maybe holding back on the idea that they can't do it at this time?
I think that everyone feels that way, even if you're not a parent. I mean, we still always felt that way before we were parents and trying to start something,
Mhm.
but you just have to remind yourself that, nothing changes if nothing changes. If you want it to happen, you just have to start doing it. Even if it's just one thing a day. Like if you're just going to look up, how do I register a business? And that's the one thing you do that day. You're still moving forward. It's going to take a long time, regardless of how much time that you have during the day. And if you just kind of break it up into little chunks, it makes it a lot easier to just get through and stomach, and you don't have to feel as overwhelmed every day being like, oh, I have a list of 10 things to do today to try to run this business, but you also have to take care of your kid. So if you just kind of have, one or two things to do a day, just say, these are the two things I'm going to focus on. I'm going to get them done no matter what.
Mhm.
And then that's the only things that you think about. Just try not to think about anything else that you have to get done for the business, and just keep compounding every day.
I go back to my word at the beginning of this, go. I think if it's fear, if it's the fear of failure or it's discouragement that you feel along the way, realizing that it's only going to be much, much worse if you don't actually take action and just try and push through it. I think another realization that we had, we could feel like, oh, I want to get to this point, but everybody says they want to get to a certain point. It takes actual effort, actual action. You have to go in order for you to get to that point. So I think we had to be very good about, putting the blinders on or initially and really keeping that focus. And it does get overwhelming at times, but the more that you just do things and the more that work compounds on itself, start to look back and say, wow, I've made so much progress along the way. That wasn't one single leap. That took a lot of small steps. And so each of those small steps is building into something that's much, much, much bigger. It's slow and it's a process that requires patience. But it is one that, you can look back on when you're further down the line and say, wow, look how far I've come. But it doesn't happen if you don't just push through and go and do things.
And I think you
It's
learn a lot more also when if you do something and you fail at it, you're going to learn a lot more from that than if you do something and do really well at it. And we've learned a lot through the things that we've done in the past that never ended up working, and that we were able to start this business a lot quicker and a lot better because we already knew about all the things that we did wrong before. So if you don't try something, you're never actually going to figure out if you could do it or not. And even if you get it wrong the first time, that doesn't mean you still can't do it right. You're just going to know how to do it better the second time.
I like that. I like both of your answers. I love this conversation right now. Okay, I got to make you guys laugh. But before we wrap up, I have one more final question for each of you. Now, the podcast is called the Balanced Boss Mom Podcast. And you're a dad, Alex. You are. You can
I can morph into, yes.
you fit in this category, okay? You're in the crew now. You're in the
Or
yes.
I support the balance of this boss mom. There you go.
Yeah, you support the balance of that.
The ecosystem.
I love it. So, what does the balanced boss life look for you right now, and where do you see it in the future?
Right now, I think it's just trying to fit things in where we can.
Mhm.
So if, our daughter's awake, I'm with her. And when she's asleep, I'm working. So if she's very active and she likes to play with people, so you can't really just like let her be and like do stuff while she's awake, which is fine. It's a fun time. But I've just gotten to the point where I know I just need to be with her if she's awake. Try not to think about anything else. Try not to get stressed out about all the things that I have to get done. And the second she's asleep for nap, you get to work. And then she wakes up, you put everything on pause until she's back to bed at night at 8 p.m. So it's just a lot of working around her and just being comfortable with that kind of routine. It's not a normal 9 to 5 kind of work.
I think that we haven't found a lot of balance just existing in our lives lately, but you're always constantly working to achieve balance. And that's really where the living happens is in keeping things as balanced as you can. I sort of think about like what my priorities are, what your priorities are. How do I balance that in my day to day? There are probably core pillars in my life of family, of my work, and of my friendships and relationships, right? And how do I keep all of those maintained? And sometimes those get depleted. The tank is emptied on some of those, and I have to go attend to it. I have to fill it up, right? So that's part of the balance is things, take my focus away from them at other times, but I can't forget about them. I have to go back. And I always have to make sure that my guard was being tended to.
I like that. I do. And I just want to thank you both really, first and foremost, for the honesty and your story and sharing your story with other people, because this conversation is really inspiring. It has inspired me for sure to continue with this podcast and sharing stories just like yours. For everyone listening, I want you to tell the listeners where they can find Piggy's.
Of course. PiggySocks.com. That's PIGGYS socks.com. And our Instagram is the exact same. Piggy's Socks, PIGGYS Socks. We're also on TikTok. You're putting out so much content these days. I feel like we're doing a reel and a post or something like that every day, and a lot that's also educational around the importance of materials and what's actually touching your baby's skin. So for more information on that, especially, that's where you can find a lot of that info. For more information on our story and to keep up with our future products, please go to our website. We are coming out with toddler socks next month. Those are right around the corner. And I think that has been one of the most requested things that we've had. Right now, we have 0 to 12 month sizing on our website, available in 3 different sizes: 0 to 3 months, 3 to 6, 6 to 12, all for purchase right now. We'll be on Amazon very soon with those sizes. And then, yes, toddler sizes are right around the corners. A lot of exciting things kind of around the bend here, but those are definitely the places that you can find us and learn more about that.
I am really excited. And Lauren, let me tell you, I have been I'm not going to say secretly stalking. Don't say that. Don't tell nobody I'm doing that. Okay. But been seeing
Call.
I've been seeing the Instagram chef's kiss. That's all I have
Right.
to say. Chef's kiss on Instagram. Now, I want to end with a few fun questions so the listeners can get to know you beyond the brand. And then we're going to wrap up because we got the Bears game to watch tonight. We're going to win tonight. Now, everybody, once you do hear this, if they do lose, don't come after me. But they're going to win tonight's division. And we are going to make it.
Before and after we don't have to do an after podcast, but before podcast, we're pretty optimistic.
We're pretty confident with the Bears. We're pretty confident. I have all my Bears gears ready. I got the cover. I should stop. I should stop throwing up the Bears so much. But let's go ahead and have fun with these questions. So if Piggies were Piggies it's based off your daughter. Why did I ask that? Anyways, if Piggies were a person, how would you describe their personality?
I think just very minimal, like not loud. Like they're that kind of person that's always like dressed well, looks nice, but isn't like in your face. You kind of see them and you're like, oh, that looks like a cool person. But like they're not trying to be the center of attention.
Yeah, that's funny. I went a different way. I would say, well, not the opposite of that, but I think it's demanding. It has a lot of high standards, and if you're not meeting those standards, it's going to let you know. It's very direct and blunt in terms of its feedback.
I like it. Okay. What's a parenting moment that made you laugh so hard you couldn't even be frustrated?
I'll go first. On this one, recently, our daughter is in the toddler era now. She kind of just entered that phase, and she's been pushing the boundaries a little bit. And so we're doing bath time, and she has her rule. She's not allowed to stand in the tub because it's dangerous and you can slip and fall. And she just loves just posturing up and just staring me down and giving me all these faces or a big grin on her face. And I can't laugh. It is hilarious. And I know exactly what she's doing, but I have to just try and put on the game face as much as I can.
You have to.
She's also in her no phase right now. So she says no to everything. It's like when we're trying to leave and, if you just pick her up out of nowhere, she starts crying because it's just, jarring, I guess. But we asked her, we're like, oh, do you want to come with us? We're going to go to grandma's or we're going to go to the store. And she goes, no. Well, you kind of have to come with us. And it gets frustrating because you can't just pick her up, but you keep saying no. So we keep trying to just entice her with these things like, well, you can, bring a toy. She goes, no. I'm like, okay, well, what else can we do?
We've gotten our negotiation skills have become very honed in the last 4 weeks or 6 weeks.
So you're just trying to leave the house, which gets frustrating, but you're like, but this is kind of funny.
It is. I'm going to tell you now, this is just the beginning. Okay.
Yeah.
There's a secret that I want to share with you. Negotiate with toys.
Yeah, usually it's she just says yes to a toy or a book.
Or a book. Because my daughter, at the age of what she is now, she'll be 8 in less than a week from now. Oh, the negotiating skills is still going. Like,
yeah.
She had a big birthday party yesterday, and she's like, I want to invite my new friend Zoe over. And I was like, we have to talk to her. I said, you just met her. No. Why not? Because you just met her. Yeah. So no, not at the moment. I said, maybe next time. Oh, so we're going back like in a week?
We're also going to invite the bus driver and the cashier that checked us out at the grocery store because they're our new friends too.
Yeah, the word humble is the best word to describe being a parent because when they get older, like my daughter's age at 8, they will humble you. Their opinions is crazy. She now gives me little opinions that I think it's kind of rude, but they humble me. So I get it. I get it. Who is more likely to sneak snacks during a late night business planning? Is it Lauren or is it?
That's probably me. Yeah. Well, we're pretty good about that. I would say that we're actually pretty diligent when it comes
We're
to
not big
our snack.
snackers, but I mean, along with that, it's like you're like, "Oh, let's have a drink."
Yeah, it's let's have a drink, or do you want me to make some popcorn? Something like, yeah, it is gonna be me if it's gonna be anybody.
Okay. Alex, I didn't want to throw you under the bus like that.
No, that's okay.
I'm sorry. Uh-oh, I just threw you under the bus. Okay. What's one word your child would use to describe each of you?
I think she would probably say that I'm a singer. I sing when she's going sing her to sleep, like after she reads her book. I sing in the car with her all of the time. She loves her music videos that she watches, and so we're always singing and dancing. So yeah, I think that maybe is my occupation to her.
I mean, I guess this would be kind of a big word for a baby, but I'd like to think she thinks I'm attentive or present. I try, like I said before, to really just be with her
hmm
and present with her if she's awake. So she just, feels like I'm there and that we're not ignoring.
I like that. Sometimes we have to, at the end of the day, I'm learning a little bit more each time where my daughter, she tells me I work too much. That's one of her ways of humbling me. Sometimes it's telling me I work too much. So now when it's a weekend or if it's like, for example, the school holiday, we're all off tomorrow. The whole family is off tomorrow. So I was like, you know what? We're having a movie day. We're just gonna
Yeah.
put Disney on and just have a movie day all day. And she's like, oh my God, you're the best. So I agree when you saying that being present is something that gives you those priceless moments and you look back on just like I did today. I was like, man, you're about to be 8. I said, I remember when you were just like a football in my hand and you were just that 3, 4-year-old little girl coming up to me and saying, Mommy, I want to go to the park. And I was like, it's happening. It's
Yeah.
happening. Oh, I have one more question and then we're done. Finish this sentence. Building piggies together has taught us what?
I think it's taught us that it's not easy to build a business, but it's easier if you're doing it with somebody else
Mhm.
because that other person you can split at least the workload kind of in half.
Mhm.
But if you pick somebody that is good at the things that you're not, it makes it so much easier because you're not trying to do all this research or just trying to figure it out. Like everything that he's in charge of, he kind of already knows how to do. And everything that I'm in charge of, I already knew how to do. So it kind of just gives this natural flow to the business and helps us push it along quicker than if we were having to do everything by ourselves. Like if he also had to do all of the creative and do Instagram when he doesn't know how to use Instagram that much, it would take him forever to try to grow something. And if I had to try to, do all the finances or do all like the inventory and talk with the suppliers, it would just take me so much longer to do this because I'm not good at messaging back to suppliers. I do that in like 2 minutes.
I think it also has. I'll change your question, your prompt slightly. You said taught us. I would say it showed us each other's drive, ambition, and work ethic. We're building something together. It was very much, in our own worlds, our own professional careers, or in our own kind of solo adventures that we've tried in the past. Now, actually doing it together, you see firsthand just what your spouse is capable of sometimes in that setting, that context, and it's a different thing. So it definitely opened us up, I think, to more of that side and build like another layer of respect almost for something that neither of us had much awareness to or visibility to previously.
I like that. Well, I want to thank you both for coming onto the Balanced Boss Mom podcast. As I state always, stay true to yourself, be humble, give yourself some grace, whether you're making that business to start off with or just building off a dream off of a vision board like I did for myself. As I state always, please check out the Balanced Boss Mom on all platforms that you're streaming and listening to. I am on TikTok, I'm on Instagram, I'm pretty much everywhere. YouTube, we're getting up there. So please subscribe, leave a review. If this resonates with you, send this to a friend. Until next time, Lauren and Alex, I really appreciate you both coming onto the podcast. And any last words that you want to leave, any encouragement you would like to leave with the listeners today?
Encouragement, no. But if you're looking for the best baby essentials around, I do encourage you to check us out. We have more products that we will be growing and kind of building out a product line. That's our broader goal for the business. So it doesn't just start and stop with socks. It will expand into other baby essentials like onesies, pajamas, and then many more items after that. So for those things and for that focus and importance of product and materials, please think of Piggies.
I think encouragement wise, if you want to start something, I think you just have to go for it. We still have people in our life that
Oh,
don't
no.
understand why we wanted to start a business.
Oh,
So
no.
if you have people like that as well, just try to, block it out. If you really believe in it, just go for it. Have patience because it's going to take a long time. But if you really stick with it, it can turn into something.
All right, guys. Well, you heard them. You got to go look for Piggies because I have, and it's an amazing product. I must say so myself. Again, we gotta preach what we're saying to everybody. So I believe in that. So let me get off of here because I'm about to go run and get ready for my day for the Bears game. I know they are.
Okay.
So I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye, guys, and thank you for listening.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.